The forest guardian story of the red tiger Hee-hee. In the red pine forest lived a majestic red tiger named Hee-hee. Hee-hee's fur is like a little burning flame, shining brightly. The character king on its forehead looks particularly vigorous. Its thick paws are like small pads of flesh. It runs quietly and is not scary at all. Bambi, the little deer, always says he is the guardian of the forest. It looks proud and has a heart warmer than pine nuts. One early morning, little squirrel Tao Dao was picking pine cones on a pine tree when she slipped and almost fell down. Hee-hee happened to pass by and quickly raised his head, catching it firmly with his broad back. Tao Dao, don't be afraid. Tao Dao, holding a pine cone, lay on Hee-hee's back, patting her little paws and saying, "Thank you, Hee-hee. Your back is more stable than a tree branch." In the morning, when the sun rose, little hedgehog Kuki got lost while looking for wild fruits and sat on a rock crying. He gently licked its head, picked up a pine needle and pointed in the direction. "Follow the area where the pine needles are denser and you'll get home." Kuki followed the direction and ran far away, even turning back to shout, "Brother Hee-hee, you're even more powerful than a compass." At noon, a big bad wolf sneaked into the forest, wanting to catch the little goat Meow Meow. Hearing the bleating sound, Hee-hee immediately ran over and displayed the powerful king character. The big bad wolf was so scared that it ran away with its tail between its legs. Meow Meow hid behind Hee-hee and whispered, "Thank you, Hee-hee, you are more reliable than big stones." In the afternoon, the little girl Duadwo from the neighbor's house came to the forest to draw and accidentally sprained her ankle. Hee-hee quickly squatted down, let Duadwo lie on his back, and steadily carried her back to the small wooden house. Duadwo lay on the warm fur and gently stroked Hee-hee's ear. "Hee-hee, you are such a gentle big tiger." In the evening, the friends gathered under the red pine trees. Tao Tao brought plump pine cones, Kiu held sweet wild fruits, and Duo brought meat jerky cookies. He was lying in the middle, licking the cookies, his eyes narrowing into small crescent moons. Bambi, the little deer, said, "Its bright red fur is eye-catching, but it's even more precious to protect everyone's heart." When the moon rose, Hee-hee lay beside the red pine. Looking at the little lanterns in the forest, they were fireflies lit by the little animals for it. Because of the red tiger Hee-hee, this forest has become safer and warmer. Such days are sweeter than pine nuts and happier than red fur. The story of Yellow Lion, a Yang's search for his family on the grassland. The grassland in the early morning was bathed in golden light. A fluffy yellow lion ran over. Its name was a yang. The mane is like sun-softened golden velvet. The tail swings like a small flag, and the roar is so soft that it's not scary at all. The little zebra always says, "A yang is the little son of the grassland, with a heart warmer than the sunlight." Suddenly, a yang heard a wailing sound. It turned out that the little antelope Duadwo had got separated from its mother. A yang squatted down and said gently, "Don't be afraid. I'll help you find your mother." It led Duadwo forward along the hoof prints and helped her avoid the sharp camel thorns. All along the way, a yang sniffed with his nose and listened with his ears. Finally, he found the anxious mother antelope by the river. Duodwo threw herself into her mother's arms and turned back to shout to a yang, "Thank you, a yang. You are the kindest lion." Under the setting sun, Mother Antelope brought sweet, tender grass, and all the little friends on the grassland surrounded our yang and cheered. A yang licked his paws, feeling warm in his heart. The joy of helping others is sweeter than basking in the sun alone. The warm forest care story of the orange little bear in the autumn forest. There was a chubby orange little bear running around. Its name was Nuan. Nuan. The fluffy fur is like sun-dried orange marmalade, soft and giving off a warm glow. Its round face is set with eyes like black grapes, and its little paws are chubby. When it runs, the fluffy fur on its body bouncy up and down like a moving little orange. Grandma Squirrel always says Nuan Nuan is the little warm stove in the forest. It looks cute and soft, and its heart is warmer than the autumn sun. That early morning, when little hedgehog Kuki was picking wild fruit, her spines were covered with Xanthium sibiricum, and she was groping in pain. Nuan hurried over, gently rubbed Kiwi's back with her soft down, and carefully plucked the burdock with her little paws. "Don't be afraid, I'll clean it up for you." Kiyuki bent over and said, "Thank you, Nuan Nuan. Your fluff is softer than cotton and doesn't hurt at all." In the morning, the autumn wind was a bit chilly. The chirping feathers of the little sparrows were blown into a mess, and they were shivering with cold. Nuan immediately squatted down and let Juju hide under her fur. "Come in quickly. It's warm here." Shoo Shoo curled up in Nuan's fluffy fur and chattered, "Brother Nuan, your fluffy fur is even more comfortable than the little bed." In the evening, the friends gathered under the oak tree. Kiyuki brought sweet wild fruits. Choo Choo carried fresh grass seeds, and everyone surrounded Nuan to share the delicious food. The setting sun dyed the forest a warm orange, and the warm down shone brightly in the light. Grandma Squirrel smiled and said, "The warm orange down is beautiful, but a heart that is willing to help others is even more precious." With the orange little bear Nuan, every little day in the autumn forest is warm and sweet, even more delightful than the sweetest wild fruit. The little magic of the blue elephant's blue trunk on the grassland beside the bluish-blue river. A bright blue elephant came walking. Its name was Lanlin. Its skin was like a sapphire soaked in river water, and its long nose was soft and fluffy. When it flapped, it looked like a blue silk ribbon. That day, the little giraffe Dawadua couldn't reach the silk tree flower and was so anxious that she kept stamping her feet. Lanlin hurried over, but with a gentle curl of her long nose, she pulled down the tenderest flower branch, and the petals fell one by one. "Thank you, Lanlin. Your nose is better than a small ladder." Duarduo chewed the petals and smiled. The midday sun was scorching, and the little antelopes were panting for breath from the heat. Lanlin ran to the riverbank, her nose gulping up water, and she gently sprayed it at her friends. Cool water droplets fell like little raindrops. The bleats jumped and shouted, "So comfortable! Did your nose turn from a watering can?" Suddenly, the little hedgehog Kooky rolled into the pit. Lanlin knelt down, her long nose firmly wrapped around its back, and slowly pulled it up, even helping to remove the mud from its thorns. In the evening, everyone gathered around. One by one brought petals, one by one held tender grass, and one by one presented wild fruits. Lanlin wrapped the fruit around her nose, her heart sweeter than honey. It turns out that helping others is the best magic. The friendship magic of the blue puppy Lan, a big blue puppy, ran on the lawn. Its name is Lanlin. Its fur was like cotton soaked in the blue sky, feeling soft to the touch. But all the other puppies avoided it. There has never been a blue dog. How strange. Lanlin hung her tail and squatted under the old locust tree, her tears rolling down like small dew. Suddenly, with a "ouch," the bow of the little pink dog Duardua was blown onto a branch by the wind. Everyone jumped and jumped, but couldn't reach it. Lanlin suddenly stood up. It stood on tiptoe, its blue fur rubbing against a branch. With a vigorous shake of its tail, the bow plop dropped off. Duarduo hugged it in surprise and said, "Your blue fur is so amazing." At this moment, the sun was so scorching that the little brown dog Zhuangzhuang stuck out its tongue. Lanlin quickly lay down beside Zhuangzhuang and spread out her big tail to form a blue mat. Zhuangzhuang lay down on it and immediately felt cool. The blue tail is even more comfortable than the shade of leaves. In the evening, the puppies gathered around Duarduo, gave it a petal collar, and Zhuangguang shared its meat bones. Lanlin licked the bone and wagged her tail into a small flag. When the moon rose, everyone held the blue paws and turned around, and the blue fluff shone in the moonlight. It turns out that uniqueness is not a flaw. A kind little dog is always cute, no matter what. A clever note on the flat seabed of the blue flatfish in the shallow bay. There swam a special blue flatfish. It was called Bianbian. The flat body is like a smooth blue leaf, and the silver blue scales emit a soft glow. The belly is flat and adheres to the seabed. When swimming, it looks like a flying little blue silk. The mother fish always says Bianbian is the little smart thing at the bottom of the sea. Its body is special, and its way of helping others is even more special. That early morning, the little hermit crab Bibi couldn't find a suitable shell and was worrying on the sandy ground with its old shell on its back. Bianbian swam over, used his body to push aside the pebbles at the bottom of the sea, revealing the beautiful conch shell hidden beneath Bibi. "How's this new home?" Bibi burrowed into her new shell, waving her little pliers and saying, "Thank you, Pingbian. Your eyes are brighter than little lanterns. Your new home is so comfortable." In the morning, the sun shone through the sea. The little shrimp, Meng Meng, was afraid of being discovered by the big fish and hid in the sand pile, not daring to move. Bian Bian quickly swam to Meng Meng's side, allowing her to hide under her broad body. She slowly changed her posture to block the sunlight. "Don't be afraid. I'll shield you." Meng Meng lay beneath Bian Bian, calmly looking for the plankton. "Thank you, Bian Bian. Your body is safer than a stone. Don't be afraid anymore." At noon, little starfish Xing Xing accidentally turned over and couldn't come back no matter how hard she tried. She was so anxious that she shook her antennae. Bian Bian swam over, gently pressed his body against the side of the star, and slowly and forcefully turned it over. "Star, don't worry, I'll help you." The star regained its posture and slowly crawled towards the coral cluster. "Thank you, Bian Bian. Your strength is even more stable than a small cart. You're so reliable." In the afternoon, the little boy Lele from the neighbor's house came to the seaside for snorkeling, hoping to see the little fish at the bottom of the sea, but he just couldn't find them. Bian Bian saw it, swimming gently in the water. Her silver blue body drew bright water ripples, as if leading the way. Lele followed the water ripples and saw many little creatures at the bottom of the sea. Smiling, she waved at Bian Bian and said, "Bian Bian, you are such a smart friend. The bottom of the sea is so wonderful." In the evening, a small current suddenly blew from the bottom of the sea, and the sand and gravel confused the eyes of the little seahorse, Dion Dion Bion. Bion Bion quickly swam to Dion Dion's side, blocking the water flow with her body and gently wagging her tail, allowing the clear water to slowly rinse Dion Dion's eyes. Dion Dion wagged her little tail and said, "Thank you, Bion Bion. Your body is more effective than a small shield. Your eyes are much more comfortable." The setting sun dyed the sea surface a warm orange. The underwater friends gathered around Bian Bian and held a small sharing session. Bibu brought smooth pebbles, Mengmen shared fresh plankton, and Lele scattered fish food through the water surface. Flat on the seabed, its silver blue scales glistened in the setting sun. It said, "I'm the happiest when I can help everyone in my way." Mother Fish smiled and said, "A flat appearance is special, but a kind and intelligent heart is even more precious." When the moon rises, its moonlight spills into the ocean floor, and its flat body resembles a small blue jade. Because of the blue flatfish Bian Bian, this small bay has become more peaceful and lively. Such days are more pleasant than the seaweed at the bottom of the sea and more dazzling than the silver blue scales. Out on the flat seabed of the blue flatfish in the shallow bay, there swam a special blue flatfish. It was called Bian Bian. The flat body is like a smooth blue leaf, and the silver blue scales emit a soft glow. The belly is flat and adheres to the seabed. When swimming, it looks like a flying little blue silk. The mother fish always says that Bian Bian is the little smart thing at the bottom of the sea. Its body is special, and its way of helping others is even more special. That early morning, the little hermit crab Bibi couldn't find a suitable shell and was worrying on the sandy ground with its old shell on its back. Bian Bian swam over, used his body to push aside the pebbles at the bottom of the sea, revealing the beautiful conch shell hidden beneath Bibai Hao's this new home. Baby burrowed into her new shell, waving her little pliers and saying, "Thank you, Pingbian. Your eyes are brighter than little lanterns. Your new home is so comfortable." In the morning, the sun shone through the sea. The little shrimp Meng Meng was afraid of being discovered by the big fish and hid in the sand pile, not daring to move. Bian Bian quickly swam to Meng Meng's side, allowing her to hide under her broad body. She slowly changed her posture to block the sunlight. "Don't be afraid. I'll shield you." Meng Meng lay beneath Bian Bian, calmly looking for the plankton. "Thank you, Bian Bian. Your body is safer than a stone. Don't be afraid anymore." At noon, little starfish Xing Xing accidentally turned over and couldn't come back no matter how hard she tried. She was so anxious that she shook her antennae. Bion Bion swam over, gently pressed his body against the side of the star, and slowly and forcefully turned it over. "Star, don't worry, I'll help you." The star regained its posture and slowly crawled towards the coral cluster. "Thank you, Bian Bian. Your strength is even more stable than a small cart. You're so reliable." In the afternoon, the little boy Lely from the neighbor's house came to the seaside for snorkeling, hoping to see the little fish at the bottom of the sea, but he just couldn't find them. Bian Bian saw it swimming gently in the water. Her silver blue body drew bright water ripples as if leading the way. Lele followed the water ripples and saw many little creatures at the bottom of the sea. Smiling, she waved at Bion Bion and said, "Bion Bion, you are such a smart friend. The bottom of the sea is so wonderful." In the evening, a small current suddenly blew from the bottom of the sea, and the sand and gravel confused the eyes of the little seahorse Dion Dion Bean. Bean quickly swam to Dion Dion's side, blocking the water flow with her body and gently wagging her tail, allowing the clear water to slowly rinse Dion Dion's eyes. Dion Dion wagged her little tail and said, "Thank you, Bion Bion. Your body is more effective than a small shield. Your eyes are much more comfortable." The setting sun dyed the sea surface a warm orange. The underwater friends gathered around Bian Bian and held a small sharing session. Bibi bought smooth pebbles, Meng Meng shared fresh plankton, and Lely scattered fish food through the water surface. Flat on the seabed, its silver blue scales glistened in the setting sun. It said, "I'm the happiest when I can help everyone in my way." Mother Fish smiled and said, "A flat appearance is special, but a kind and intelligent heart is even more precious." When the moon rises, its moonlight spills into the ocean floor, and its flat body resembles a small blue jade. Because of the blue flatfish Bian Bian, this small bay has become more peaceful and lively. Such days are more pleasant than the seaweed at the bottom of the sea, and more dazzling than the silver blue scales. The farm adventure of Chick Gigi. Beside the chicken coop on the farm, there is a fluffy little yellow chicken hopping around, chirping Gigi. Gigi's down is like a little yellow ball that has been sprinkled with sunlight. Its round black eyes are bright and shiny. Its red and pointed beak pecks at things with a tap-tap sound. When it runs, its short legs roll around very fast. The mother chicken always says, Gigi is the little curiosity on the farm. It's not very brave, but it always loves to run errands for everyone. That early morning, the little ducklings, unable to find their mother, were circling and quacking in the yard. Gigi quickly flapped her little wings and ran over. Gagas, follow me. It led the duckling through the vegetable garden, around the pile of firewood, all the way to the pond where the mother duck was waiting. The gags jumped into the water and shouted to Gigi, "Thank you, Gigi. You are such a reliable little guide." In the morning, the sun rose slowly, making the ground feel warm. The little ants carrying breadcrumbs were so exhausted that they lay on the stones, gasping for breath. When Gigi saw this, she quickly ran to the shade of a tree and blocked the sunlight with her body, as if holding up a small yellow velvet umbrella. "Little ants, come and rest." The ants hid under the awning and licked the grass seeds that had fallen on Gigi. The team leader waved his antennae and said, "Thank you, Gigi. It's even more comfortable here than the shade of leaves." At noon, the little Master Duardo's hairpin fell into the flower bed, and she was so anxious that she searched everywhere. Gigi heard the commotion and quickly crawled into the flower beds. With her small pointed beak, she carefully picked out the hairpin and gently placed it in front of Duadwu. Duadwu held the hairpin in her hands, smiling and patting Gigi's head. "Thank you, Gigi. Your little pointed mouth is more dexterous than a small pair of tweezers." In the afternoon, dark clouds drifted over the sky and it seemed that it was about to rain. Gigi remembered the corn kernels drying in the yard and quickly called over the mother chicken with a Gigi sound. She also used her body to support the bamboo basket and helped carry the corn into the warehouse. When the raindrops pattered down, the corn was already safely in the house. Grandpa Farmer smiled and said, "We are so capable." In the evening, little hedgehog Kuki came to visit the farm but couldn't find her way home. Gigi quickly raised her little voice and made a GGG sound, leading Kuki through the path all the way to the farm gate. Kuki bent over and said, "Thank you, Gigi. Your cries are more effective than road signs." The setting sun dyed the farm a warm yellow. The friends gathered around the chicken coop and held a small sharing session for Gigi. The little duck brought dried fish. The little ant brought breadcrumbs, and Duardwa brought sweet millet. Gigi pecked at the millet, her round eyes shining. She said, "I'm the happiest when I can help everyone." The mother chicken smiled and said, "Gigi's little yellow down is cute, but her warm-hearted heart to help others is even more precious." When the moon rose, Gigi lay beside the mother chicken, listening to the whispers from the farm, feeling warm in her heart. Because of the little chicken Gigi, this small farm has become more lively and warmer. Such days are more delicious than sweet millet and more endearing than the fluffy body. A heartwarming story of a giraffe soaring high on the grassland. On the green grassland stands a tall giraffe. Its name is Gao Gao. The tall neck is like a long slide with beautiful brownish yellow patterns on its body. Its 4 long legs are steady and solid. The small horns on its head are fluffy. When it lowers its head, it can touch the ground, and when it raises its head, it can reach the top of a big tree. The zebra mother always says, Gao Gao is a big friend on the grassland. It is tall and kind-hearted. All its friends love to ask it for help. That early morning, the little squirrel Tao Tao was pacing around anxiously under the tree. It wanted to pick the red fruit at the top of the tree, but the tree was too high to climb up. Hearing the commotion, Gao Gao slowly walked over, bent his long neck, and said, Tao Tao, climb onto my back quickly. Tao Tao climbed up to his shoulder along his neck and easily picked the red fruit. Holding the fruit, he said, Thank you, Gao, Gao. Your neck is more useful than a ladder. The fruit is so sweet. In the morning, the sun made the grassland warm and cozy. Little hedgehog Kuki couldn't find a shady spot and lay on the ground listlessly. Gao Gao quickly spread out his big ears, as if holding up 2 large brown cooling fans, and gently fanned Kuki Kuki, come and cool off. The cool breeze made Kuki squint her eyes and arch her body, saying, Thank you, Gao. Gao, your ears are more comfortable than fans. The wind is cool and refreshing. At noon, the little antelope, Mio Mio, couldn't find a source of water and was panting for breath due to thirst. Gao Gao remembered the hidden spring in the distance and quickly led Meow Meow towards it. From time to time, he lowered his head and shouted, Follow me. We'll be there soon. Meow Meow drank the cool spring water and immediately perked up. She waved her sheep's horns at Gao Gao and said, Thank you, Gao Gao. You are such a reliable little guide. The spring water is so sweet. In the afternoon, the little girl Duardwo from the neighbor's house came to the grassland to play. She wanted to touch the little bird in the tree, but couldn't reach it. Bending his neck gently and tenderly, he let Duoduo climb onto his back and slowly raised his body. Duoduo reached out and touched the feathers of the little bird, happily clapping her hands. Gao, Gao, you are so nice. Sitting on your back, it feels like standing on the top of a small hill. In the evening, dark clouds drifted from the sky and it seemed that it was about to rain. Gao Gao saw a group of little ants hiding under a stone. He quickly stood beside the stone and stretched out his body as if setting up a patterned small tent. When the raindrops pattered down, the ants hid beneath them, smiling and saying, Thank you, Gao, Gao. Your body is stronger than a leaf shed. We haven't got wet at all. The setting sun dyed the grassland a golden red. The friends gathered around Gao Gao and held a small sharing session. Tao Tao brought red fruits, Qiu brought wild fruits, and Duo brought sweet carrots. Lowering his head high and munching on a carrot, his long neck swayed gently, and his heart felt warm. Mother Zebra smiled and said, She is tall, but her helpful heart is even more precious. When the moon rises, it stands high on the grassland like a gentle little lighthouse. Because of the tall giraffes, this small grassland has become warmer and more lively. Such days are more pleasant than sweet spring water and more reassuring than long necks. The wonderful flight story of the little blue-winged bee buzzing in the garden lived a special little bee. Its wings were not transparent like those of its companions, but shone with a bright blue light as if wrapped in a layer of star powder. Everyone called it buzzing. Weng Wen's body is fluffy with yellow and black stripes. The antennae on its head are long and thin. When it flies, its blue wings flap, leaving a faint blue light like scattering a handful of small blue petals. Mum always says Weng Weng is the Smurf in the garden with courage and joy hidden in its wings. That early morning, the sunflowers in the garden had just bloomed, but the little ladybug Dion was sitting on the petals, worrying. It wanted to send a sweet flower honey to its good friend far away, but it couldn't fly far. Buzzing, flapping its blue wings, flew over and asked softly, Dion, why aren't you happy? Dion, with her drooping spots, said, I want to send flowers and honey, but I can't fly. Buzzing flapped its wings. Let me deliver it for you. My blue wings fly fast and steadily, Dion. Dion's eyes lit up and she put the flower honey into the envelope made of small leaves. Weng Weng held the envelope in his mouth, his blue wings flapping like small fans. He flew over the rose bushes and crossed the small stream, successfully delivering the gift to Dion's friend. When he came back, he also brought a beautiful rainbow petal for Dion. In the morning, the sun was slowly rising. Guago, a little ant in the garden, was carrying breadcrumbs with her friends. However, halfway through, they were blocked by a small soil slope. Guago looked up and saw Weng Weng flying over. She quickly shouted, Weng, can you help us? Buzzing immediately stopped beside the slope and let its companions climb onto its blue wings. It slowly flapped its wings like a small blue airplane, sending the ants one by one to the opposite side of the slope. Guago shook her antennae and said, Thank you, Weng. Your blue wings are more useful than a small ladder. At noon, the flowers in the garden were a little wilted because it hadn't rained for a long time. Buzzing remembered the mountain spring he had discovered yesterday. He quickly flapped his blue wings and flew over. He made small buckets out of small leaves and carried water back and forth, sprinkling it on the roots of the flowers. The rose drank the water and smiled again. The little daisy straightened its back and nodded its head in thanks to Buzz. Buzzing was sweating profusely from exhaustion, but looking at the colorful garden, it felt particularly happy. Its blue wings looked even brighter in the sunlight. In the afternoon, the little girl Duadwo from the neighbor's house came to play in the garden. As soon as she saw the buzzing sound flying in the air, her eyes lit up immediately. Wow! The wings of this little bee are blue. How special! The buzzing sound gently landed on Duadwa's fingers, and the blue wings flapped gently, not scary at all. Duadwo held it carefully and said with a smile, "You are so brave. You even help everyone with things. I want to be friends with you." Buzzing shook its antennae at Duadwo, as if saying, "Great, great." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the garden orange. All the little friends in the garden gathered under the sunflowers and held a small thank you party for Wumeng, the little ladybug. Brought sweet nectar, the little aunt brought the most fragrant breadcrumbs, and Duadro brought a small dish of water. Buzzing stood in the middle, its blue wings shining with a gentle light. It said, "I'm happiest when I help everyone." Mother smiled and said, "The buzzing blue wings are not only beautiful, but also hide kindness and bravery. This is the most precious thing." When the moon rose, Duadwo put the little flower ring she made on Warmung's body. Her blue wings, paired with the colorful garland, made her look as beautiful as a little fairy. Buzzing with wings, it flew around the garden, bringing joy and warmth to every flower and every little friend. Because of the buzzing of the blue-winged little bees, this small garden has become more lively and beautiful. Such days are sweeter than nectar and more dazzling than the blue wings. The heartwarming underwater story of Blue Bubble Little Fish in the vast blue sea. There lived a special little fish. Its scales were not silver-grey like those of its companions, but shone with a bright blue light as if wrapped in a layer of blue starlight. Everyone called it Blue Bubble. The body of the blue bubble is round and plump. Its tail is like a small blue maple leaf. When it swims, it swings its tail and spits out strings of transparent little bubbles. The bubbles glow blue in the sunlight, as if scattering a handful of small blue pearls. Mum always says the blue bubble is the little warm sun at the bottom of the sea. Kindness and courage are hidden in its scales. That early morning, the little hermit crab Bibi, carrying shells on its back, was pacing around anxiously among the coral reefs. It wanted to go to the underwater garden to find beautiful seagrass, but there was a shallow sandpit ahead, and it was afraid of sinking in. Blue Bubble swam over with a blue tail and asked softly, "Bibi, why aren't you happy?" Bibi drooped her little paws and said, "I want to look for seaweed, but I dare not cross the sand pit." Blue Bubble smiled and said, "I'll help you." It let Bibi climb onto its back, swim steadily across the sandpit, and also led Bibi to the softest green seaweed. Bibi shook her pliers at Lambobo and said, "Thank you, Lambobo. Your back is more stable than a small boat." In the morning, the sun shone through the sea water into the ocean floor. Little starfish Xing Xing was lying on a rock, trying to climb up to a higher coral to bask in the sun. However, the rock was too slippery, and after climbing several times, it always slipped down. When the blue bubble saw this, it swam over quickly, gently held the star's body with its tail, and slowly carried it to the top of the coral. The stars stretched out their 5 little feet, basking in the sun comfortably and saying, "Thank you, Blue Bubble. Your tail is more useful than a small ladder." Blue Bubble shook its blue, glittering tail, feeling sweet in its heart. At noon, the little seahorse Duwadwa at the bottom of the sea couldn't find her mother and sat beside the sea anemone, crying softly. Hearing the crying, Blue Bubble immediately swam over and said gently, "Duwadwa, don't be afraid. I'll help you find your mother." It led Duwadwa along the familiar route, swimming and shouting Mother Seahorse at the same time. The blue light of the Blue Bubble was particularly conspicuous on the seabed. The Mother Seahorse soon noticed it and hurriedly swam over to embrace Duwadwa. The Mother Seahorse nodded at the Blue Bubble. "Thank you, Blue Bubble. Your blue light is like a little lantern helping us find each other." In the afternoon, little turtle Tauto wanted to collect beautiful shells, but it swam too slowly and many shells were washed away by the waves. Blue Bubble saw this and quickly said, "Tau, I'll help you chase." It swung its blue tail and swam quickly towards the waves, carrying back the colorful shells that had been washed away one by one and placing them in front of Tau. Tau happily held the shell and said, "Thank you, Blue Bubble. Your speed is even faster than a small rocket." In the evening, the setting sun filtered through the sea, dyeing the seabed a warm orange. All the underwater friends gathered in the coral garden and held a small thank you party for Blue Bubble. The hermit crab brought the smoothest pebbles. The starfish brought sweet seaweed, and the seahorse mother brought shiny shells. Blue Bubble swam in the middle, its blue scales shining with a gentle light. It said, "I'm happiest when I help everyone." Mum smiled and said, "The blue light of the Blue Bubble is not only beautiful but also conceals warm kindness. This is the most precious thing. When the moon rises, its moonlight spills into the ocean floor. The scales of the blue bubbles blend with the moonlight, resembling a tiny blue starry sky." It wagged its tail and swam around the bottom of the sea, bringing joy and warmth to every little friend. Because of the Blue Bubble fish, this small seabed has become more lively and beautiful. Such days are sweeter than seaweed honey and more dazzling than the blue scales. Little Mouse Dudo's heartwarming story in the forest, in a tree hole by the forest. There lived a tiny mouse named Dudo Dubu, has soft grayish-brown fur, as if wrapped in a warm little fleece. Its round black eyes are like two black grapes. Its tail is long and thin. When it runs, it swings back and forth, looking very flexible. It always loves to carry a small leaf backpack, which is filled with shiny little pebbles it has picked up. Its mother always says, "Dodo is the little warmer in the forest." Although it is small, it has a heart willing to help. That early morning, the little squirrel Guago was so anxious that it kept stamping its feet on the pine tree. The pine cones it had stored had rolled to the edge of the cliff out of reach and too scared to approach. Dudu came running over with a small backpack and asked in a low voice, "Guago, what's wrong with you?" Guago pointed at the edge of the cliff and said, "My pinecone fell there. I'm afraid I'll fall." Dudu had a sudden inspiration. She took out a long vine from her backpack, tied one end to her waist, and let Guagoa hold the other end. Slowly, she climbed to the edge of the cliff and pushed the pinnacone back. Guogo held a pine cone in her hands and wagged her tail at Dodo, saying, "Thank you, Dodo. You are braver than a little warrior." In the morning, as the sun rose slowly, little hedgehog Kuki wanted to carry the red fruits home, but the fruits were too slippery and kept falling off her back. When Dodo saw this, she rushed over to help. "Kuki, let me fix it for you." It used the dry grass in its leaf backpack to gently tie the red fruits one by one to the thorns of the ball. It also helped hold the fruits and walked slowly with the ball. After arriving home safely, Kyuki bowed to Dodo and said, "Thank you, Dodo. Your little hands are so dexterous. The fruits won't fall anymore." At noon, the sky was a bit muggy. Little bees buzzed back from gathering nectar, their mouths dry and tongues parched, but they couldn't find clean spring water. Dudu remembered the secret stream she knew and quickly said, "Wang Wang, follow me." It hummed through the grass, found a clear stream, and fetched a large lotus leaf as a small cup. It scooped up water and handed it to the buzzing. Buzzing, sipping the cool stream water, flapped its wings and said, "Thank you, Dodo. You are truly my little guide. The stream water quenches my thirst more than nectar." In the afternoon, dark clouds suddenly drifted from the sky, and it seemed that it was about to rain. Dudu thought of the little ants living under the mushroom umbrella. Their homes were easily flooded by rain. Dudu hurried home, dragged a large banana leaf, and placed it above the ant hole. She also found some small stones to fix the leaf in place. When the raindrops pattered down, the ant captain poked his head out from under the leaf and waved his antennae at Dodo. "Thank you, Dodo. Your banana leaves are more effective than a big umbrella. Our home isn't wet at all." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the forest orange-red. All the friends in the forest gathered under the big pine tree and held a small thank you party for Dodo. The squirrel brought the most fragrant pine cones, the hedgehog shared the sweet red fruits, and the bee sent sweet nectar. Dudu sat in the middle, its black eyes shining brightly. It said, "I'm the happiest when I help everyone." Mum smiled and said, "It doesn't matter if you are short. Being willing to help and always thinking of others is the best." When the moon rose, Dodo put the gifts given by her friends into her leaf backpack, lay down in the tree hole, looked out of the window at the moonlight, and had a smile on her lips. Because of the little mouse Dodo, this small forest has become warm and lively. Such days are even more wonderful than sweet red fruits and more dazzling than shiny pebbles. The Vegetable Garden Guardian Story of Eggplant Zai Zai in Grandma's Vegetable Garden. There is a lush green eggplant plant with plump eggplants hanging on it. Among them, the one that is the most purple and brightest is named Zai Zai by Grandma. Zai Zai was dressed in a shiny deep purple coat, like a round purple pearl. Her skin was so smooth that it could reflect the shadow of leaves. Her shape was chubby and slightly curved, like a tiny crescent moon. Its stems are slender, with a few large emerald green leaves on top. When the wind blows, they sway gently. Even the ladybugs passing by can't help but land on the leaves. Grandma always says, Zizzy is a little gentleman in the vegetable garden. It hangs steadily on the seedlings. When it's ripe, it's delicious, whether stir-fried. One early morning, little Aunt Guagu and her friends were carrying cookie crumbs. When they reached the middle of the vegetable garden, they got lost. The green leaves around were so thick that they couldn't tell the direction. Guagu looked up and saw Zai Zai on the rice seedlings. Her deep purple coat stood out particularly among the green leaves. She quickly called out to her friends, "Look, that purple eggplant is like a small flag. We can go home by following it." Zai Zai hung steadily on the rice seedlings like a loyal little guide. Guogo followed Zai Zai's direction and indeed found their way home very quickly. Guogo waved her antennae at Zizzy and said, "Thank you, Zizzy. Your color is brighter than a little lantern. We'll never get lost again." In the morning, as the sun rose slowly, the vegetable garden became warm. The little snail crawled slowly, sweating all over its head. It wanted to find a shady place to rest for a while, but the other leaves were all too narrow. It climbed under the big purple leaves and suddenly felt much cooler. The emerald green leaves were like a big green umbrella, just right to block the sunlight. Slowly lying on the soil, he shook his antennae at Zai Zai and said, "Zai Zai, Zai Zai, Zai Zai, your big green umbrella is so comfortable. It's cooler than petals. I'm not afraid of the sun anymore." Zai Zai gently shook the leaves, making the shadow cover tighter and gradually blocking the dazzling sunlight. At noon, Duadwo, a little girl from the neighbor's house, came to the vegetable garden to help her grandma pick vegetables. As soon as she saw Zai Zai on the rice seedlings, her eyes lit up. "Grandma, this eggplant is so purple, like a purple pearl. It's so beautiful." Grandma smiled and picked Zizzy, wiped it clean and handed it to Duwadbu, saying, "Freshly picked eggplants are the tenderest. When I make braised eggplant later, you'll surely love it." Duwadwo carefully held Zizzy in her hands, touched the smooth coat and said with a smile, "I want to watch Grandma make it so that Mum and Dad can also taste the flavor of this purple pearl." In the afternoon, dark clouds suddenly drifted from the sky, and it seemed that it was about to rain. Zai Zai saw of the little ladybug Dion living under the eggplant vines. Its back shell was a bit thin and it was afraid of getting wet by the rain. Zizzy quickly asked her grandma to pick the big leaves beside her and cover them with Dion's little nest. The leaves were big and thick, just right to keep out the rain. When the raindrops pattered down, Dion poked his head out from under the leaves and shook the spot at Zai Zai, saying, "Thank you, Zai Zai. Your leaves are more useful than my shell. I didn't get wet at all." Zai Zai lay in the bamboo basket, watching the raindrops hitting the vegetable leaves, feeling sweet in her heart. In the evening, the setting sun dyed the vegetable garden orange-red. Grandma cut Zai Zai into oblique pieces and made braised eggplant together with minced garlic and broad bean paste. In no time, the rich aroma filled the kitchen. Duodwo and her parents gathered around the dining table, looking at the shiny and soft braised eggplant. They couldn't wait to take a bite. It was salty and fragrant, not at all greasy. Dad said while eating, "This is the most delicious braised eggplant I've ever eaten. Thanks to Zizzy, the meat is tender and flavorful." Grandma smiled and said, "Eggplants may look ordinary, but they have many uses. Growing quietly and sharing them with everyone is the best." When the moon rose, Duodwa washed the seeds of Zai Zai clean and put them in a small plate. She wanted to plant the seeds in a flower pot and wait for eggplant seedlings to grow next year. She lay on the bed, thinking of today's braised eggplant, and it seemed as if she could still smell that rich aroma. The room was quiet, with only the sound of the evening breeze brushing past the window. Because of Zai Zai, this small vegetable garden became full of vitality and fragrant. Such days were more beautiful than the soft and glutinous flesh of eggplants, and more dazzling than their bright purple coats. The pomegranate red and red fruit plate is a sweet record in Grandma's yard. There grows a pomegranate tree with luxuriant foliage. On its branches hang round pomegranates. Among them, the reddest and plumpest one is named Hong Hong by Grandma. Hong Hong was dressed in a bright red coat, like a tiny red lantern. Its skin had fine lines and felt a bit rough, but very sturdy. At the top, there was a small crown that swayed gently in the wind. Even butterflies couldn't help but circle around it. Grandma always said, "Hong Hong is the little treasure of the yard." There are many sweet red pearls hidden in its belly. That early morning, the little bee hummed back from gathering nectar, so exhausted that it could hardly flap its wings. It landed on a branch beside Hong Hong, smelled a faint, fruity fragrance, and immediately perked up. It flapped its wings at Hong Hong and said, "Pomegranate, pomegranate, your scent is so unique." Hong Hong quickly shook her body to let the aroma spread further. "Buzz, take a break. My flesh is so sweet. I'll let you taste it later." Buzzing moved close to Hong Hong, took a deep breath, and the fresh fragrance dispelled its fatigue. Flapping its wings, it said, "Thank you, Hong Hong. Your fragrance is more refreshing than nectar." In the morning, the sun was slowly rising. Little Aunt Guagu and her friends were looking for food. They walked for a long time, but couldn't find it. Seeing their red and bulging bellies, they curiously climbed up the branches and asked, could there be something delicious hidden inside? Just then, Grandma came to pick pomegranates and said with a smile, "Red and ripe. Let's open them together and have a look." Grandma gently peeled off the red coat, revealing a series of crystal-clear red seeds inside, as if a handful of red pearls had been scattered, with sweet juice dripping down the seeds. The fruits quickly climbed over, picked up a red seed and licked it. The sweet taste made them cheer. "Thank you, Hong Hong. Your seeds are sweeter than candies." At noon, the little girl Duwadwo from the neighbor's house came to play at her grandma's. As soon as she saw the peeled red, her eyes lit up. "Grandma, these pomegranate seeds are so red, like red pearls. They are so beautiful." Grandma put the red seeds into a small plate and handed it to Duadwa, saying, "The freshly picked pomegranates are the sweetest. Have a taste quickly." Duadwa picked up one and put it in her mouth. The sweet juice spread in her mouth. She smiled and said, "It's so sweet. Red is sweeter than honey. I'm going to take some for my parents to taste." In the afternoon, dark clouds drifted over the sky, and it seemed that it was about to rain. Hong Hong remembered the little ladybug Diandian living beside the tree root. Its little nest had no cover. Hong Hong quickly asked her grandma to put the peeled coat on Diandian's nest. The pomegranate peel was thick and firm, just right to keep off the rain. When the raindrops tick-tock fell, the dots poked their heads out from beneath the skin and waved at Hong Hong, saying, "Thank you, Hong Hong. Your coat is more useful than a small umbrella." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the courtyard orange red. Grandma mixed pomegranate seeds with yogurt to make a sweet pomegranate yogurt cup. Duadwo and her parents were gathered around the dining table, taking one bite after another, eating very happily. Dad said while eating, "This yogurt cup is so delicious. Thanks to Hong Hong, it's just right sweet." Grandma smiled and said, "Although pomegranate seeds are small, they are very sweet when gathered together. When everyone shares them, happiness will also increase." When the moon rose, Dawatwa washed the red pomegranate shells clean and made them into small storage boxes to hold her little beads. Lying on the bed, she recalled the red seeds and their sweet taste and gradually fell asleep. Because of Hong Hong, this small courtyard has become sweet and warm. Such days are sweeter than pomegranate seeds and more eye-catching than the bright red coat.